Russian Firebrand Medvedev threatens NATO. Could the Pacific Front now widen into a dangerous new theater? Dmitry Medvedev's big warning to the West hints at the possibility of a much wider naval confrontation ahead. Russia's Shadow Fleet showdown escalates further as Medvedev threatens a reciprocal response against Western vessels. Western European dogs are barking, as former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev openly mocks NATO over the Shadow Fleet dispute. Medvedev said, and I quote, "Western European dogs are barking hysterically about the so-called Russian Shadow Fleet. So, what exactly are they talking about? This refers to ordinary merchant vessels that sail under non-Russian flags but carry cargo in our interests. Such flags are usually known as flags of convenience. This is a system whereby a vessel is registered in a country other than that of its owner, in order to save on taxes and regulatory costs. These jurisdictions include Panama, Liberia, the Marshall Islands, the Bahamas, Belize, Bermuda, the Cayman Islands, Cyprus, Malta, and the Seychelles. Of course, the European dogs have no right whatsoever to detain such vessels, either under the 1982 UN Convention on the Law of the Sea or under national legislation. It is sheer lawlessness. But this leads to one important conclusion. The vast majority of Western European vessels also sail under flags of convenience. So, what follows from that? It means that, applying a reciprocal approach, which is only fair, Russia has the right to attack any merchant vessel belonging to enemy countries, whether in our waters or in neutral waters, if there are sufficient grounds to suspect that it is carrying cargo in the interests of the enemy." End quote. Pacific Fleet enters the picture as Putin's naval power could now be given a new mission amid the escalating Shadow Fleet showdown.
Another issue I would like to bring to your attention. Commander of the Pacific Fleet, Victor Lanana, has just referred to the escort of our vessels within the area of responsibility. I wish to draw attention to the decisions recently adopted by the European Union. We observe that the authorities of certain states, in violation of international maritime law, are attempting to restrict the navigation of vessels operated by our economic operators, civilian ones, I would emphasize. More recently, they have gone so far as to contemplate the possibility of seizing our ships and selling off our unlawfully taken property. This is, of course, nothing other than piracy and outright robbery. Should such actions begin to be implemented in practice, we will have no choice but to respond in a mirror-like manner, and not necessarily in those waters where raids on our warships and vessels are being planned, but wherever we ourselves deem it necessary and expedient at any location, including within the area of responsibility of the Pacific Fleet. I would ask that this be given due attention. Corresponding instructions have already been issued to the Ministry of Defense. I am aware that they have been conveyed to the command of the Pacific Fleet, and I would likewise request that proposals on this matter be submitted for consideration. In conclusion, however, I would like to emphasize once again that Russia, while strengthening its security both overall and in specific regions of the world, remains always open to the search for mutually acceptable compromises with all our neighbors and all our friends, and we are prepared to do so on the basis of due regard for mutual interests.
The forces and units of the Pacific Fleet are on constant combat alert, carrying out their designated tasks, and are capable of ensuring the security of the Russian Federation in the Asia-Pacific region. The military-political situation in the region is tense and shows a steady trend towards escalation. The main factors driving the rise in military and political tensions are the destructive activities of Western countries aimed at reshaping the security architecture in the Asia-Pacific region, their build-up of an advanced military presence, and the creation of new military and political alliances under Western control. These include the AUKUS and Triple Alliance blocs. New alliances similar to these are currently being formed, namely JAFUS, Quad and AJUS. In effect, these are military-political alliances. They are essentially elements of NATO, merely under a different guise. They conduct joint operational combat training exercises, the number and scale of which are constantly increasing. There is a clear trend towards the involvement of NATO's military and political resources in regional politics within the Asia-Pacific region. The escalation of tensions in the fleet's area of operations is also confirmed by the increasingly aggressive actions of Japan's military and political leadership. For instance, on July 4th, the White Paper on Japan's defense was published, setting out the military and political leadership's course towards open militarization. Russia is identified as one of the threats to Japan. It is also stated that military spending is to be increased to 2%. Furthermore, the Japanese Defense Minister, Shinjiro Koizumi, has openly declared that it would be appropriate to abolish the 3 non-nuclear principles, which is something that cannot be allowed in our region. Hearings are also being held on the revision of Article 9 of the Japanese Constitution and the establishment of the Japan Self-Defense Forces. A major concern is the threat of the West blocking Russia's maritime trade with the aim of inflicting maximum economic damage on the country. I am aware that, as part of the 21st package of anti-Russian sanctions, the European Union has lifted the previously imposed ban on the sale of Russian hydrocarbons within EU countries. This grants EU member states the right, at national level, to adopt legislative decisions regarding the sale of hydrocarbons from detained vessels of the so-called Russian shadow fleet. In doing so, the European Union is seeking to provide a legal justification for its actions, which contravene international norms. In accordance with your instructions, Comrade Supreme Commander-in-Chief, we have carried out a detailed analysis of maritime traffic in the Asia-Pacific region. We know the routes, what is being carried, and whose ships they are. In the exclusive economic zone of the Russian Federation alone, along the islands of the South Kuril Ridge, 1,001 vessels passed through between April 24 and August 6, 2026. Of these, 379 were flying the flags of unfriendly states, including 273 dry cargo ships and 71 tankers, amongst which were 26 British vessels and 9 French vessels. At the same time, Western states are actively using vessels flying the flags of third countries to transport cargo in their own interests. In essence, this constitutes their shadow fleet. We have the capabilities to inspect and detain vessels belonging to unfriendly states and their shadow fleet. Interagency cooperation is well organized. We are ready to begin tackling these tasks. The report is complete.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HT app. Download now.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a banking dynasty meets tides of world history, intrigue, and a dash of myth?
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.